This video is about rational expressions. What is a rational equation? A rational equation is an equation that has at least one fraction in it, and that fraction contains a polynomial in the numerator or denominator. In order to solve a rational equation, we need to first find the LCD, or least common denominator. You might need to factor in order to do that. Part 2 is we are going to multiply both sides by that LCD and clear the fractions out. Then we'll just solve the equation that we're left with. Don't forget to state your restrictions, and you should always check for extraneous solutions. So let's take a look at our first example. Here we have -4 divided by x plus 3. So that x plus 3 is going to be part of our LCD. And that's equal to 5 divided by x minus 3. So that x minus 3 is also going to be part of our LCD. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is we're going to multiply this side by our LCD. We're also going to multiply this side by our LCD. You can think about that all being in the numerator. So when you do that, this x plus 3 and this x plus 3 are going to cancel. That leaves you with -4 being multiplied by x minus 3. On this side, the x minus 3 and the x minus 3 cancel, and you're left with 5 times x plus 3. From here, we're going to distribute and solve. So -4x plus 12 is equal to 5x plus 15. Bring your variables together, subtract your 15 from both sides, and then divide. We're going to get x is equal to -3/9, which will reduce to -1/3. Going back to our original problem, we have those x plus 3 in the denominator. So if we plug in a -3, we'd get 0. And then we have x minus 3. So if we'd plug in a 3, we would get a 0 in the denominator, which is not allowed. Let me show you another example. Here we have our first fraction, 2 divided by x minus 1. So LCD is going to contain that x minus 1. Our next denominator is just 1. And the last denominator can be factored. So that's 2 times x minus 1. So the 2 needs to be included in our LCD. And the x minus 1 part of the factor is already there. So now we can go back and multiply both sides by our LCD. So when we do the left-hand side, remember to multiply the whole entire thing by 2x minus 1. And then we'll also multiply this whole side by 2 times x minus 1. Remember that is part of our numerator. But on the left-hand side, we're going to have to distribute and make sure it gets to both terms. Okay. So now we have 4 times x minus 1. Still have that x minus 1 denominator, minus 4 times 2 times x minus 1. That comes from this second term. This came from our first term. And on the other side, still have that denominator by 1, we have 7 times 2 times x minus 1 over 2 times x minus 1. Now we can go through and cancel some things out. Numerator and denominator cancel. Nothing from that second term. The 2's and the x minus 1's cancel at the end. So now we're just going to solve. So we have 4 minus 4 times 2, that's 8, times x minus 1. So I'll distribute that. 4 minus 8x plus 8. And on the other side of our equal side, we canceled out everything and are left with 7. I'm going to combine my like terms. 4 plus 8 is 12. I'll take that 12 to the other side. That gives me -5. We'll divide by -8, and we get x is equal to 5 over 8. We can go back and state our restrictions that x cannot equal 1. And that's it, because we get the same restriction from both denominators. You can take that 5/8, plug it back in, make sure that you don't get an extraneous solution. And that's how you solve rationals. We use the LCD to cancel out the denominator that's there, and then just solve whatever's left.